Here we go. We are live. Wow, every Monday night for 2.5 years I've been going live, and mostly every Wednesday night, and then we took a break, and here we are. Erev Tov, Gili. Erev Tov. Erev Tov to our audience who are coming on one by one. My name is Dr. Tova Gulfine, and my host tonight is Gili Bat Shlomo. We took a big break and stopped in the summer at the end of July and went through the holidays, and we are back. We are very excited to be here.
Beautiful. Tova, you're amazing. The show, how many shows have you done?
This is 90, Tashim ve'achad. Tashim ve'achad, Shidorim. Anyway, so as people start to come on, I'm seeing them. Feel free to ask questions, Shalot. You can ask questions in the feed, and Gili and I will answer them. Our mission is still the same. אותו דבר, נכון?
טובה עשתה הפסקה קצת עם ה-TMS RoundTable Israel.
כן, יופי.
ועכשיו היא חוזרת חזרה.
כן. If anything, our passion and our mission, it's greater, it's bigger. We are more positive. We are more sure that the body can heal and that there's a רופאה בפנים.
אין שום ספק שהגוף יכול, שאנחנו יכולים להבריא, ושהגוף מבריא את עצמו, ואנחנו צריכים לעזור לו ולא להפריע. וטובה, אני חייבת לומר משהו, אני מעריצה אותך על כל העבודה כאן ב-RoundTable Israel שאת עשית. וכמו שאת אומרת, זה כבר 91 שידורים שאת משדרת.
91, כן.
ואת מראיינת המון אנשים עם סיפורים שונים, עם זוויות שונות של ריפוי עצמי. ואני פשוט מעריצה את העובדה שלמרות שהשפה העברית עדיין לא כל כך יושבת, עדיין את עושה את זה, וזה פשוט, אנחנו מודים לך מאוד על מה שאת עושה.
So tonight we're the guest. Okay. We are the guest, and we're going to have a discussion. Feel free to ask questions on the feed or say hello. This will also be on the YouTube channel. Acharei Shior, they'll be posted on the YouTube channel.
Do you want me to translate it?
Can.
There was remind me from the beginning. I forgot the beginning.
Okay, whatever you say, it's okay. I called to say there. It's okay. Just
so, היום אנחנו הולכות לדבר ביחד, זאת אומרת, אנחנו שתינו על המסך, היום אנחנו לא מראיינות בן אדם נוסף.
כן, יופי.
ובעיקרון אתם יכולים לשאול פה את השאלות, ואנחנו נעלה עליהן. Tova, I cannot see the remarks. So...
They're not coming yet. One has to come, one person has to start, and I will bring it up if there's a remark favorite.
No problem.
So I have a few questions for Gili, who is a colleague and a close friend, and we met through this Hebrew show. We met.
Erev Tov,
again, we met 2 years ago. You contacted Marav and I when you saw something. So your story is not only an incredibly healing story, and you're here to you're living here to tell it, but it has inspired me. And there are various parts of your story that I use every day, kol yom, with my clients. Amazing pearls of wisdom. And the way that you phrase it and put it into like Gila's vocabulary to make it palatable, to make it easy. You know, when you say, oh, you got to love your little girl, it's like, oh, I got to reparent myself. But you say it like you said to me, and repeat this in Hebrew, I don't do anything or make a decision without checking in with my little child.
אני פגשתי את טובה ואת מירב לפני כשנתיים, כאשר הם הזמינו אותי לתוכנית שלהם, אני יצרתי איתם קשר והם הזמינו אותי לתוכנית, וטובה ממש קיבלה השראה מהרבה דברים שאמרתי, ואחד הדברים שהיא אמרה, what was the sentence I used to say that impressed you?
I don't do anything or make a decision without checking in with my little child.
ואחד המשפטים שממש נגע בה, זה היה שאני לא עושה שום דבר בלי לבדוק עם הילדה הפנימית שלי. טובה, first of all, yeah, I try not to.
Try not to what?
Not to do anything without asking my inner child.
But that you had to get cancer in order to meet her. Maybe we can start there.
Yes.
Like maybe your story's long and beautiful. Maybe you want to tell a short part of, you got cancer and how you healed yourself along with a couple of good doctors in your story. But the fact is you made a decision and you were about to die. I mean, you were one of these cases where it was like, what are you doing being alive? The doctor said, something like that. So start there, and thank you everyone for your patience with my English and Hebrew. אנחנו לומדים, so we're bilingual tonight.
אנחנו נעשה את זה בשני השפות, ואם יש למישהו איזה בעיה בתרגום, אז אין לי שום בעיה לתרגם את טובה לעברית.
כן.
בוא
נתחיל.
בוא נתחיל. את רצית לשאול אותי טיפונת שאני אספר על הסיפור שלי.
כן.
ב-1995, כשהייתי בת 33, אובחנתי עם סרטן לימפומה נון הודג'קינס. כשאובחנתי זה כבר היה בגודל 3 פעמים הלב, שזה היה בערך גודל של פומלה, שחסמה לי...
It was wrapped around the heart, wrapped around your heart?
כן, זה היה מסביב ללב, וזה חנק לגמרי את העורק הראשי. The main artery was completely blocked. וכשהרופאים ראו את המצב, אז הם אמרו שהם לא ראו בן אדם חי במצב שלי, וכל צעד אני נופלת ומתה. באותו רגע הסכמתי למות, אני אספר את the short version, את הוורסיה הקצרה, מה שנקרא. אני הסכמתי למות, ובאותה שנייה קרו כל כך הרבה דברים, שברגע שהסכמתי למות, אני גם שחררתי את הפחד מהמוות. עכשיו, ברגע שלא היה לי פחד מהמוות יותר, הדבר השני שקרה זה בדיוק בנקודה הזאת, התחלתי את התקשורת עם הילדה הפנימית. הילדה הפנימית זה נושא שתמיד עניין אותנו ביחד. It really interests you, the inner child.
Yeah. Because at what point, like what point did you feel that she played such a role in your healing?
From the first point, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
ברגע שהובחנתי, בשנייה שהסכמתי למות, I have no fear no more, אין לי פחד יותר, והדבר הבא שאני אומרת, זה אני פונה לילדה הפנימית שלי, ואני אומרת לה, עד עכשיו, you were locked, את היית בכלא. לא נתתי לך את התחושה של לחיות, של לעשות מה שאת רוצה. למה? כי הייתי עסוקה מדי. המוח שלנו וההזדהות שלנו עם מי שאנחנו, גורמים לנו להתעסק בכל מיני דברים חיצוניים, ואנחנו לא תמיד נשמעים לצרכים או לרצונות או לבקשות של הילד הפנימי.
So I'm going to interrupt.
Yeah, sorry.
Because one of our missions is to help anyone in our community understand their ability to self-heal.
כן. הרצון של טובה זה שכולם כאן בקהילה, אנחנו נעזור להם בעצם לקבל השראה להבראה עצמית. If I translate it correctly.
כן. And So at some point, what I want to know, because I want to, give I call these take-home insights, like what these people can take home, whether it's chronic pain or cancer or autoimmune. I mean, to me, it's all the body has attacked itself because of some sense of threat, and you knew how to give it safety. So there was something intuitive about. Go ahead.
Yeah, but just before we're going into this subject, I just want to finish. Otherwise, I'm keeping it in the open.
I just want people to realize, like, that they, I like to say that everyone can heal. I mean, it's not even, it's possible and probable.
Absolutely. I'll just finish with the inner child, just a brief moment. אז בקיצור, מה שקרה, אני אמרתי לילדה הפנימית שלי, את משוחררת. הזמן שנשאר לנו לחיות, זה נטו בשבילך. תעשי מה שאת רוצה. וזה בעצם היה התחלת היחסים עם הילדה הפנימית. So if I'll just translate it to you to English.
Yeah.
From the moment, at the moment I agreed to die, there was no more fear.
That's it.
And the next thing, I asked my inner child, I told her, it's not asking her, I told her that she's free to live as she likes.
Right.
From that moment onwards, and I, the grown-up part of me, will look after her and help her do whatever she chooses.
I mean, how did you think, where did the little child come from? Like, what intuitively made you want to connect to her?
In that point, it was just because my inner child, in my understanding for that moment in time, because it changed very quickly, it was that that's our inner wants and needs that we're not usually do it or follow it. We usually, let's say you wake up in the morning and you need to go to work, but you have that feeling inside, I want to go to the beach, which sounds like a little child, And during the day, we just used to say to her, no, we can't do it now. No, we're not going to do this now. We don't have time. There's no thing. And
so we're stuffing that intuition, that voice.
We're stuffing that need or that voice with the needs of that voice, whatever the voice is.
So say this in Hebrew, this part, I'm going to say something. I think I do believe, and this is the science, that one of the things we have to do when we become unhealthy or dis-ease, there's an dis-ease, we have to reparent ourselves. And that's part of taking responsibility.
But even before reparenting ourselves, how about just listening to that voice?
Okay. So can you say that in Hebrew? Because it's a very important tool.
בדרך כלל מה שקורה, אם אנחנו נרד מההגדרה של ילדה פנימית, נקרא לזה שנייה הקול הפנימי בתוכנו שרוצה דברים אחרים, שנשמע כמו ילד, כמו למשל אנחנו רוצים ללכת לעבודה, או אנחנו צריכים ללכת לעבודה, או אנחנו צריכים לעשות כל מיני דברים ברשימת דברים to do שיש לנו כאנשים בוגרים, ופתאום אנחנו מקבלים איזה מין קול פנימי, לא, בא לי ללכת לים, לא, בא לי ללכת עכשיו לשחק, לא, בא לי לעשות משהו אחר כיפי. ומה שקורה, אנחנו פשוט רגילים במהלך החיים שלנו להשתיק את הקול הזה. לפעמים בעדינות, לפעמים ממש בחוצפה, ולפעמים אפילו באלימות. כאילו שתקי, את לא יודעת מה זה, את עכשיו צריכה לעבוד. זה בקטע האלים של העניין. ולאט לאט במהלך השנים הקול הזה פשוט משתתק. אנחנו לא מקשיבים לו, והוא כנראה כבר כמו ילד שבוכה שנים או חודשים, הקול שלו כבר נגמר והוא בכלל לא מנסה אפילו.
But I'm playing devil's advocate now, but I'm an adult. I don't want to be a child. I just want to, I'm taking responsibility. I don't want to. So there's another conflict of like, I don't want to go there. I want to move. So, but there's, what I like to say to that conflict is we can integrate our child and our parent. That's the healing, to integrate, not one or the other. It's integration, because we are our past into the present.
You're absolutely right, Tova. To integrate is already the healing part. It's after the healing. I never actually thought about healing. When I actually released my inner child, it was because I was just about to die. I don't have my grown-up life anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any difference anymore, because in a few minutes I can die. From my point of view, the way I calculated this time before I'm dying was the last 4 steps of my life.
Right.
So in the last 4 steps in my life, I did the most important thing, which was I said to my inner child, you were locked for so many years, you're not allowed for so many years. Now the last 4 steps of our lives is yours. I actually dedicated the rest of my life, the short life which I had, for her.
Wow.
So in an extreme way, במצב של מחלה, במצב שבו אנחנו ממש נמצאים באיום על החיים הרגילים שלנו, אז מהניסיון שלי, from my private experience, I would say, just let go, פשוט תנו לכם להיות, כי מה זה משנה כבר?
But Gili, it's so hard, kashe, to let go. Why is that so hard for so many of us to let go?
Because of the fear. זה בגלל הפחד. וזו הסיבה שאני אמרתי, השלב הראשון שעברתי, זה היה להסכים למות, ואז לא היה יותר פחד. אני אתרגם, I will translate to English.
Okay.
That's the reason why I explained the stages which I went through. The first stage was agreeing to die. Once I agreed to die, there was no fear no more.
Right. See, that's amazing. Right. So you accepted your mortality.
Yes. And I accepted the fact that in a few minutes, I'm going to die. Now, in my workshops, I always take people into facing death, and I call that stage accepting dying, not because I'm preparing them to die. It's because I'm preparing them to live. To live to the extreme. Only when you're not afraid anymore to die, you can live to the extreme. And that's the reason why I'm taking them through
this is like, you just said that very beautifully, but it's something we all hear. We all hear. This is Torah, this is Quran, this is the Bible, this is Buddha. This is not new. You know, making this day the first day of the rest of my life. This is the journey. This is the Masa. This is the Derech. And so let's continue and talk more about.
This is the Derech. Yeah, I agree with you completely that this is the way and that's the Derech. However, when our life is not under threat, we can play with those kind of ideas on a theoretical level. כשהחיים שלנו לא נמצאים באיום, אנחנו בעיקרון משחקים עם התיאוריות האלה בלבד. When death is here, standing next to you, suddenly it becomes real. And when it becomes real, and once it becomes real, then you can actually do the accepting and the releasing of the fear of this. And even when I'm working, I mean, I'm just working now with a client in Israel. And in the beginning, she was hysterical. She was hysterical because the state became harsher. המצב הגופני שלה החמיר, והיא הייתה בפחדים מהמוות, בהיסטריה מפחדים מהמוות.
Our situation, you're saying.
That was a situation. That was about 2 months ago when we started working together.
Yeah.
Just a few days ago, I received from her a text saying that her husband said, ever since you started the workshop, suddenly you don't have any fear.
Yeah.
And she said, you're right.
Yeah.
And the day after, when we talked about it, I mentioned something about death, and she was laughing, and she's saying, oh, it doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah.
Now, this is the first stage from my point of view. The getting rid of the fears is the first stage to accelerate the healing.
Just so Dr. Schrubener, who has been on the Hebrew show and English show, who's a lot of people in Israel know about him. He wrote a book called Dr. Howard Schrubener. He wrote a book called Unlearn Your Pain and Unlearn Your Anxiety. He's lectured here in Israel. He was the first person I heard. I didn't hear this in the beginning of my career, but later on in my career, I began to connect pain and fear. He said the fear is much worse than the pain.
Mm-hmm.
And that this is the key for so many people to understand that. And fear is energy. It's not something real. I mean, yes, a lion is coming, run. But most of the time in chronic pain and disease, there's no lion coming. It's just the fear of, it's my experience. Like Gabriel Mattei, Dr. Mattei, Gabriel Mattei will say, it's your experience of the trauma. It's worse than the trauma. It's your experience of the cancer. So there we are taking responsibility for my relationship. So can you say that? Because that's another take home.
Oh, I need to remember, you know.
Okay, whatever you say, it's fine. Taking responsibility and the experience of.
Okay, let's put it in a short version so I can actually translate every 2 sentences.
Okay, so
do you want to say?
Our experience of our disease is much
הניסיון שלנו עם המחלה שלנו
is the place where we can be responsible, because it's our experience of the disease that's the trauma and the drama.
זה המקום איפה שאנחנו יכולים לקחת אחריות, כי זה הניסיון שלנו עם הדרמה והטראומה של המחלה עצמה.
So in the 91 shows, if we look across the board and see all these people that healed, everything from cancer to arthritis to MS.
אז ב-91 תוכניות האחרונות של טובה, כשהיא אירחה כל כך הרבה אנשים על קשת ומגוון רחב של אנשים שהבריאו מכל כך הרבה מצבים פיזיים.
So we saw that these people took responsibility.
אז המכנה המשותף, the common line, the common era between them, המכנה המשותף זה היה שהם לקחו אחריות.
And it's not about blaming. Oh, you need to be responsible. It's not about blaming. It's about an acceptance of.
זה לא קשור להאשמה, זה קשור לקבלה יותר.
Yeah. And it's not easy, and yet healing comes from that.
זה לא קל, זה לא פשוט, אבל מתוך זה מגיעה הבראה.
Yeah. And you know, they say there's a prophet, he's an American prophet, he's not a Jewish prophet, but he's an American man who's a philosopher, and he says, whatever arises, love that. It's Buddhist. Whatever arises, love that.
יש איזה פילוסוף שאומר, מה שמגיע, תאהב את זה.
But,
yeah, let's bring us to loving cancer, isn't
it?
But
and then we're going to go to second, now Gilly's going to talk about, like, what do you mean love my cancer? Like really, like F you? Like, what do you mean love my cancer? What do you mean love my fibromyalgia? What do you mean by that?
Before I'm going into that part, I want to answer what you just said about the responsibility.
Okay. Sure.
The responsibility is the most important part. And the reason why I'm not only confirming what you're saying, but also saying it myself, is because a few years, 3 years after I healed myself, I went and I interviewed 9 people who healed themselves from cancer. They went home and they healed their cancer. And I was looking for the common trait between them, because each and everyone did a completely different thing.
Wow. Say that in Hebrew, that's key.
כן. אני 3 שנים לאחר שהבראתי, אני אחזור על זה בעברית. 3 שנים אחרי שהבראתי, אני ראיינתי 9 אנשים שהלכו הביתה והבריאו את עצמם מסרטן. כל אחד עשה דבר אחר לחלוטין. אבל אני חיפשתי ברעיונות האלה מה היה המכנה המשותף של כולנו, כי גם אני הבראתי את עצמי. So one of the most key point, the first thing which I actually found as a common denominator to all of us was taking responsibility. And I asked each and every one of them, give me the 3 key sentences that a person who just been diagnosed have to hear. The first 3 important sentences. The other 2 was different sentences to each one.
Wow.
But the one which was common answer to all was responsibility, taking responsibility. And you're absolutely right. Responsibility, for many people, it sounds like blame.
Yeah, like the parent.
It's worse than the parent. When I was trying to explain to it in the book which I wrote about my cancer, the image that came to me and the understanding why most of the people connect those things is because when you're responsible for something, I think it's mine.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm sorry for that.
It's okay. We are we're the real thing. Whatever happens,
happens. Yeah, but I just need to decline it so I can.
Okay.
Come back.
But go back into the Hebrew now. So I don't want to
just a minute before the Hebrew. I need to finish it in English first of all. What actually happened? It's connect to blame. Not only to blame, but also to punishment. Because in the courts, in the law of the country, if you are to blame, you're the one who will pay. Right? Now, we have to remember this is not a court of law. This is us with our body. Only I know what's good for me. No one else can, because no one else can get into me or live or understand what I'm going through. And therefore, no one else can take the responsibility for my well-being. Only me, who is in touch with my body and my emotions, can know what is good for me and what's not. And that's taking that responsibility, that no one else can actually give this information rather than me. And that's where the responsibility comes from.
Right.
And it's to be responsible for your life, to your health, and also for your death.
Right. Right. Why don't you translate that for our listeners?
בעיקרון הסיבה שהרבה אנשים יש להם בעיה מאוד חמורה עם המושג של לקיחת אחריות, פחות בימינו. By the way, טובה, it's less in our days. I remember 27 years ago when I just started to talk about healing cancer. there were many more people who had problem with the idea of taking responsibility than these days. I believe that in the last 25, 27 years, the society went through...
Because the medical system makes us victims. We become codependent and we feel obliged, and that they owe us a healing, they owe us a diagnosis, and they owe us a positive outcome. And then, so we become victims. מה זה victims בעברית?
קורבנות.
קורבנות. Whoa, קורבנות. That I know. קורבנות. So ממשיך בעברית about the victims and the response, because it's almost like the opposite. I'm not taking responsibility, I'm a victim. And again, we all go through this. This is human. We have a condition called being human. This is not, none of us, we're all going through this together.
טובה נוגעת פה בנקודה מאוד מאוד חשובה, שזו הנקודה שהרפואה המערבית הופכת אותנו לקורבנות. וטובה אומרת שאנחנו מצפים שהם יעשו את העבודה ויבריאו אותנו, חיצונית. Tova, there's another problem over here. Conventional medicine itself, it's not only, you're completely right that they're making us into victimized by our diseases, but for many, many years, conventional medicine sent the message that they will help, they can heal, and they can fight death. And it's not, no one can fight death. That belongs to another source. What do you mean fighting death?
Yeah. Or beat cancer. We can beat cancer.
But they do not beat cancer, because that was, conventional medicine didn't give us the right impression in the first place, because first of all, they cannot beat death. Maybe they will try to postpone it. Maybe they will try to actually keep the person alive. But the question about the quality of the life, do you call it a life? Yeah. So even if they prolong your staying alive, I mean, what is the quality? Are you enjoying yourself? Is that your real choice? Because sometimes we see many people that it's not their real choice. And furthermore, conventional medicine don't really heal. They heal the symptom.
It's very important. And everybody knows that. Kol anashim, nobody questions that. But we do think we're better. When we feel better, we think we're better. And then the cause is, but we're talking about the cause being emotionally driven, psychologically driven, where the brain has become protecting you and creating enormous shift in your physiology, your hormonal system, your chemistry. We're talking about diseases where the body's attacking itself. Again, the body gets sick, the body heals. When the body doesn't heal, something else is going on. And that's what this show is about. And because our body has an amazing ability to heal over and over again. Can you say that in Hebrew for our listeners?
מה שטובה מדברת על זה היכולת המופלאה של הגוף שלנו להבריא. הגוף שלנו כל הזמן מבריא את עצמו. אבל אנחנו מפריעים לו הרבה פעמים. Do you understand what I said?
Yes.
All the time, our body all the time heals itself,
yes.
But we're disturbing it from working.
Yes. And we're interfering.
We are disturbing it. Nekuda.
And many people ask me,
and we are disturbing it in so many different ways because exactly what you're saying. Every thought we're thinking, every word we listen to can change the biochemistry in our body. So the way we think and the way we believe and the way we talk not only give messages to the body, but also immediately on that spot affecting the biochemistry of the body and the stress levels as well. So,
and a lot of this is unconscious. So again, we're not blaming, we're asking you to just become more aware
Yes.
You don't have to get a heart, you don't have to get a tumor around your heart to become aware.
Yeah.
You can, but
Well,
awareness,
it's easy when you're sick.
That's interesting.
It is very easy to do this understanding and awakening to this when you're sick. Why? Because when you heal, I mean, when you are healthy, do you feel your body?
Yeah, take it for granted.
Yeah. If I don't have any damage to my hands, I don't feel them. But if I have the smallest scratch, I know that I have a hand. I will feel it.
This is an important concept. Can you say it, Favorite Baksha? It's a very good take-home tool about mindfulness and awareness.
בעיקרון, כן, טובה כאן דיברה על הקטע שכולנו בעצם רוצים להבין את הקשר הזה של הגוף נפש, או גוף מוח, או גוף מחשבות, מה שנקרא. והיא אומרת שכולנו צריכים להבין את זה, אבל אני אומרת שכאשר אנחנו חולים, הרבה הרבה יותר קל לנו לעשות את ההבנה הזאת, ולעשות את הקפיצת מחשבה הזאת, ולהבין את התובנה הזאת בכלל. למה? כי אז אנחנו מרגישים את הגוף. אם אנחנו בריאים לחלוטין, אנחנו לא מרגישים את הגוף. ואז זה לא קורה. I just translated it.
Wonderful. No, very important tool, take-home tool. So let's talk a little bit more about...
How many people do we have at the moment?
It's hard to tell because they come in and out. It's hard to tell.
בבקשה, אם יש לכם בעיות עם האנגלית, או אם זה קשה לכם לשמוע את האנגלית עברית, אז בבקשה תכתבו לנו. שנוכל לעזור לכם גם כן לתרגם את האנגלית אם צריך, כי מרבית הישראלים מדברים אנגלית בכל מקרה.
And we'll definitely not speak Russian or French, so...
No. And very simple English.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about the power of self-healing and neuroplasticity, which is our ability to change our brain through our thoughts, actions, behaviors. And I'd like to quote Viktor Frankl.
Okay, טובה רוצה לצטט את ויקטור פרנקל שאומר, what did Viktor Frankl say?
That between a thought and a stimulus, between a thought and an action, there is a moment to make a decision. And in that moment, there lies your freedom.
Sorry, I was just reading over here. את יכולה בבקשה לחזור לסיפור שלך שלא הספק לתרגם. איזה סיפור, תמר? לאיזה סיפור את מתכוונת? ואז אני אשמח לחזור על זה. תמר, איך את גם תספרי לי, איך את עם האנגלית? כי אז אני פשוט אעשה יותר תרגום של העניין. בכל מקרה, הציטוט של ויקטור פרנקל, what was it?
So, you know, he started this logotherapy, and he survived, you know.
הוא התחיל לעשות לוגותרפי.
And he survived
והוא שרד את השואה.
The camps. And he said again, between a thought and an action, a thought and a stimulus, you have a moment to make a decision. And in that moment lies your freedom.
Between the thought and the what, sorry?
The stimulus, the action. Between
the reaction.
And my action.
Action or reaction?
Action.
בין המחשבה לפעולה, הוא אומר שיש שנייה שבו ניתן לשנות את הכל.
כן. It's beautiful. It's again about our choices we make and our ability to respond to something, not react, and hope and belief, which we'll talk about in a minute. I think this might be the answer from
Yeah, Tamara just explained what story she wanted. קבלת אחריות ומה הכוונה בקבלת אחריות. תמר, בעיקרון, קודם כל, תני לי לשאול אותך שאלה, יש לך בעיה עם קבלת האחריות? זאת אומרת, זה נשמע לך כמו עונש או איום קבלת האחריות?
We shall answer in a minute.
כן, אני אחכה לתשובה של תמר.
This is from Danit. She's just making a comment.
She said that everything is proper, explainable from her point of view because she probably understands the English.
Right. It's a beautiful name, Danit.
Yeah, Danit is beautiful.
And here's Tamar's. Lo, mamash, lo.
כן, טוב, תמר. אחריות זה אחת הנקודות הכי חשובות בהבראה. ובאמת לא סתם אני חקרתי את זה עם המבריאים, וזה באמת היה הנקודה הראשונה שכולם דיברו עליה. אחריות לא קשור לאשמה, זה לא אומר שאת אשמה במחלה. אנחנו פשוט לא ידענו איך לפעול אחרת, ואנחנו פעלנו על פי הטייפים הרגילים של המוח שלנו, לפני שהיינו מודעים לקשר של מה שאנחנו עושים והתגובה הגופנית שזה יוצר. עכשיו, כשאני אומרת מה אנחנו עושים, איך אנחנו חושבים. כי כל מחשבה משנה לך את הביוכימיה של הגוף. כל רגש משנה לך את רמת האנרגיה אצלך בגוף. ולכן, בעצם רק את יכולה לדעת מה את מרגישה, אם לטוב או לרע, והאם לשנות את זה, כי זה הכל שינוי פנימי. עכשיו, זה לקיחת אחריות. וזה לקיחת אחריות, כי אף אחד אחר לא יכול לעשות את העבודה הזאת. אף אחד לא מספיק קרוב אל התחושות, הרגשות והמחשבות שלך, כמוך. ולכן, התחושה של אותם אלה שהבריאו, זה היה מין תחושה של, מה זאת אומרת? זה שלי. אף אחד לא יכול לעזור לי פה. יכולים לייעץ לי, אני יכולה להתייעץ, אני יכולה לדבר על הנושאים, אבל מי שמחליט ומי שיודע הכי טוב מה נכון לו ומה לא, זה אני יחד עם הגוף שלי. אני מקווה שזה עזר בזה. בהחלט תמר is asking, she's saying, so it means that I need to be aware to my thoughts and feelings. Yes, Tamar.
And I want to say, and please, because this is so...
Let me translate.
Baksha.
No, let me translate to Tamar what you want to say.
Okay. Mindfulness and being aware of our thoughts and unconscious is...
Mindful, let's do a short sentence.
Yeah.
מה שטובה מנסה לומר, שמיינדפולנס, זאת אומרת, טוב, מיינדפולנס זה גם בעברית, והמחשבות שלנו,
it's scientific. This is not, it's an art, but it's science that if we can become more mindful and make it automatic. It can become like a habit. Here's, I give a dugma.
Let me just translate this part. בעיקרון מה שטובה אומרת, זה לא רק אומנות להקשיב למחשבות ולהבין מה קורה בתוך, להיות מודעים למחשבות ולרגשות, זה גם, היא אומרת שזה מדעי, כי זה כבר הוכח שבעצם המחשבות והרגשות שלנו משפיעות מיידית על הביוכימיה. Yes, טובה.
We all learn habits, we all learn how to, we practice something. It becomes automatic.
לכולנו יש הרגלים, וההרגלים האלה נכנסים לטייס האוטומטי.
Why do we get up in the morning and automatically brush our teeth?
לדוגמה, טובה נותנת, למה אנחנו קמים בבוקר, והדבר הראשון שאנחנו עושים, אנחנו מברשים את השיניים. זו התנהגות אוטומטית שכבר לא, אנחנו לא חושבים עליה.
Does a religious woman ever walk out of the house without a techo or a sheto?
האם אישה דתייה תצא מהבית ללא כיסוי ראש, למשל?
If I want to have healthy thoughts and be mindful of my thoughts.
אם אני רוצה שיהיה לי מחשבות, what was the sentence again?
To be healthy.
אם אני רוצה שיהיה לי מחשבות בריאות, ולהיות מודעת למחשבות שלי, then?
I can learn to do that. It becomes, if I practice, I can learn to do it.
אז זה ניתן לעשות, על ידי תרגול, זה ניתן לעשות את השינוי של המחשבות האוטומטיות האלה.
Now the science is that I'm wired.
Tamar is just telling you, זה קשור להתניות של המוח. Is that connected to the
neuroplasticity? Yes. So we're wired. What I
כן, תמר, זה בהחלט קשור להתניות של המוח, של הטייסים האוטומטיים.
Right. So I'm wiring, my neurons wire the same thing because I'm focusing on that. If I can focus on something else and accept that I'm focusing on the bed and just accept it and not judge it and not be critical and just, there's my mind. And if I can focus and work, it becomes automatic. It's the pain,
no, it's a pain to translate such a big thing because it actually took your words.
Okay.
So, מה שטובה מנסה לומר, שזה בהחלט אנחנו יכולים לשלוט במחשבות האלה, על ידי זה שאנחנו מתחילים לשים לב אליהם בכלל. אני חושבת that's the best way for me to translate at the moment.
And the how, the ech, are things like journaling, meditation,
על ידי כתיבה,
mindfulness,
meditation,
mindfulness. And surely the most important thing that Gili and I want to leave you is that this is a journey, and many times we're very
והדבר החשוב ביותר שטובה ואני מנסות להעביר לך, שזה מסע.
And to understand and be compassionate, because we want to be in control, we want things to go right, and the body senses that and actually begins to create pain and disease.
יש לנו המון רצונות, למוח שלנו יש המון רצונות לעשות דברים וזה, אבל sorry, again, I have this problem. Sorry, I'm very bad in translating it to Hebrew.
No, I think you're doing amazing. Anyway, thank you. But I think I am assuming our listeners are bilingual, but it's really nice that we're translating. So I would love to talk more about that, Tamar, and you can always email me. My number, my email is everywhere. I'm happy to share some information.
להיכנס יותר לנושאים האלה, תכתבו לה באימייל והיא תשמח.
It's amazing work that all of us are practicing.
It's amazing.
Something we're. So let me answer Danit's question. Can you say it, Gili?
Yeah, Danit is saying, what really helped me to take responsibility is when I understood that the doctors not really helping me, that the treatment, that the medical treatment that they gave her didn't help her. Even if it helped others, although it helped others, well, basically. And when I tried to explain to them how it expressed itself with her, they didn't know how to give her answers. That was the moment that she understood that she knows about her disease much more than they know about her body and about the disease. Even if it's under a certain name, which put some people in a group. דנית, לגמרי מצדיקה אותך. לא סתם אני פיטרתי 3 פרופסור מתפקידם אצלי ב4.5 חודשים שהייתי צריכה להבריא. הם לא הבינו איך מבריאים סרטן, הם ידעו איך לטפל בסימפטום של הסרטן, הם תקפו אותו. ואני בכלל לא נלחמתי עם הסרטן שלי אפילו לא חצי יום, אז אני לא מבינה על מה מדובר בכלל כשתוקפים. מעבר לזה, דנית, בגלל שהוכרחתי לקחת טיפול כימי, אני עשיתי הפוך על הפוך, אני לקחתי טיפול כימי והפכתי אותו לקימו אקסטזי. היה לי תופעות לוואי של אקסטזי, לא היה לי כמעט תופעות לוואי שהם דיברו עליהם. אז כן, יש לנו גם אפשרות הרבה מעבר, גם לשנות את מהלכי הטיפול עצמו, אם אנחנו רוצים להבריא על ידי הטיפול. אבל בכל מקרה, הטיפול עצמו רק עוזר לסימפטום. ומה שאת מדברת על לקיחת האחריות שלך, שזה פשוט נשמע נפלא. דנית, ספרי לנו קצת איך את לקחת האחריות. זאת אומרת, מה הכוונה שלך בלקחת אחריות? אולי זה גם יעזור לתמר קצת להבין את הנושא הזה.
Did you ask Danita a question? Yeah. Maybe she'll answer.
עם כל כיצד ניתן לשנות את ההתניות. תמר, לשנות את ההתניות שבמוח, זה כדי לשנות אותם, את קודם כל רוצה לשים לב אליהם. אחד הדברים שאני תמיד מסבירה למטופלים שלי, ואנחנו אחרי זה מתרגלים את זה, זה שיש לנו כמו נהר של מחשבות בתוכנו. המוח כל כך עסוק, כל הזמן, שהוא כל הזמן חושב על משהו. וזה כמו נהר שוצף, שטס במהירות של המון קילומטרים לשעה, ולמרות שאנחנו קוראים לזה מודע, כי אנחנו לכאורה מודעים למחשבות שלנו, לא תמיד אנחנו באמת מודעים למה שזה אומר. אחד התרגילים שאני נותנת למטופלים שלי, לתלמידים שלי יותר נכון, זה לתפוס את רצף המחשבות ולכתוב אותו, להעתיק אותו. ועד שהם לא עושים את זה, ולפעמים זה קשה להם אפילו להיכנס לתרגיל, אבל מהרגע שהם נכנסו לתרגיל והם עשו את זה, הם כולם בפליאה, כאילו, מה? זה מה שאני חושב? כן, זה מה שאנחנו חושבים, אבל כל עוד שאנחנו לא שמים, עד שאנחנו לא כותבים את זה ותופסים את המחשבות האלה, אנחנו אפילו לא קולטים איזה מחשבות עוברות לנו בראש. ואנחנו גם שוכחים שכל המחשבות האלה בעצם נותנים מסרים לתת מודע שלנו. אז כן, אנחנו בתכלס נוהגים את הגוף שלנו דרך לא רק ההתניות, ההתניות יוצרות מחשבות, המחשבות יוצרות הוראות לתת מודע.
I want to, I think Danny's just commenting. Yeah.
What I was trying to explain to Tamar. Tamar was asking, so how can you change those neuroplasticity?
The neurocircuits.
The neurocircuits. I prefer not to call it the neurocircuits, but I mean...
What do you want to call it? We can have different names.
Well, for my part, in the way that I'm teaching, there are three drivers.
Yeah.
The first one is the brain.
Yeah.
Brain ego, which is one part. Yeah. The other one is the body.
Yeah.
And the third one is the soul or the inner child or whatever you call it. Because the inner child, from my point of view, is the soul.
Yeah.
And what we do is start to identify the three drivers. We identify the brain by writing, practically just taking a piece of paper and write whatever you feel that you think. Yeah. You will be surprised what you find there.
Well, and this is neurological. This is taking the thoughts from here to the paper shifts it helps the brain to calm.
As well.
Physiologically.
Well, the way I do it and the way the exercise that we're doing, that I'm teaching, the brain hates it. The brain hates it because he's going to be caught. So sometimes it's very difficult because you just start to write it and suddenly shut off. Right. He doesn't want to be exposed.
Right. We get triggered because we start to get in touch with something that's not comfortable.
Exactly. So what I said to Tamar is that first of all, we're writing it because before we can change anything, we need to see what is there.
Well, I want to say something about what's there, and I want to say it in English, and then if anybody needs repeating, yeah. Because I want to say the whole thing.
I feel funny because some of the people already probably translate you better than I do.
Yeah, no, you're doing a great job. And toda rabah im savlanut for everyone. This is not like, I can do this to. There are deep, deep issues in all of us. That's what makes Gili and I great health professionals and compassionate women, because we've been through our own pile of shit, mud, quicksand, trauma, drama, and none of us are immune. We're all also Yehudim. Okay, this is a bit genetic, which I don't believe in genetic, but we're carrying a load. But the point I want to make is that the little girl that Gili spoke about was traumatized as a child for whatever reason. It's another show. And what happens is that when we're children, we have to choose many times between getting love.
טובה מדברת כרגע על הילדה הפנימית, שבדרך כלל היא עוברת טראומות. ובתור ילדים, there are two options, שתי אפשרויות, או לקבל אהבה, getting loved, or...
Getting love, or, but in order to get that love and that attachment, I had to give up something.
כדי לקבל את האהבה, כילדה היא הייתה צריכה לוותר על משהו.
Now, one of the doctors, Gabriel Mate, talks about, we had to give up our authenticity.
גובר מטה מדבר על זה שכדי לקבל את האהבה אנחנו מוותרים על האינדיבידואליות שלנו, או authenticity can be translated in so many different ways. את המהות שלנו, אנחנו מוותרים על המהות שלנו, על מי שאנחנו באמת.
So that starts the process of us living in survival and not being real.
וזה מתחיל את הפעולה, וזה מתחיל את התופעה, שאנחנו מתחילים לחיות בזיוף. בזיוף או רחוקים ממי שאנחנו באמת.
So that's the beginning of stuffing our feelings, pleasing people.
וזו התחלה של הדחקת הרגשות שלנו וסיפוק של אנשים אחרים, על מאשר להבין אפילו את הרגשות שלנו.
And that's a little bit about the John Sarno work that I'm specializing in as well, about the repressed feelings. And once we can uncover them, our brain doesn't have to protect us with pain. And at some point, autoimmune disease.
וזה מה שהיא מדברת על העבודה שלו עם דוקטור סרנו, שאנחנו פשוט... What was it that we don't
have to repress our feelings, that the brain doesn't have to.
שאנחנו לא צריכים להדחיק את הרגשות שלנו, בדיוק ההפך, להציף אותם למעלה כדי להבין אותנו, את עצמנו, כדי שאנחנו נוכל להתקדם מהמקום הזה. זאת אומרת, להפסיק את ה... Sorry.
So we have to find ways, like Gili found her little child. We all have to find ways to in touch with our feelings.
שאני מצאתי את הילדה הפנימית שלי, ואנחנו צריכים למצוא את הדרך להתקשר עם התחושות הפנימיות שלנו. טובה, let me just tell you what I found about the inner child.
Yes, please.
When I teach about the inner child is just the most lower part of our soul which we can communicate with.
Wow.
Now, I found that there's a lot of components in whatever we call the inner soul, the inner child or soul. There's so many different components. First of all, there's more than one inner child.
No. Okay, for you, there's more than one.
For me, the way I look at it.
Okay.
There is the child which you're talking about, which is the hurt child from the childhood, the one with the trauma.
Yeah.
There's another child, which is the most innovative, it's the genius. Our child, because it's not operating from the brain, is completely free to see different options that the one who's been trained with the brain cannot see. Every artist knows about that part of us because art cannot be performed from the brain.
Wow.
Okay? So the inner child, there is a very genius inner child that can create out of nothing. And that's another child.
Wow.
Another child which we have is the innocent child, which is almost the purest form of the soul.
Mm.
It's almost like the angelic part of this all goodness, you know, the part of all goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is almost like a pure soul.
Because we are born like just about perfect, and then we start to.
Yes. So we have, if we're talking about the inner child, that's for at least the three of them, usually, which I find.
Beautiful.
And then later on, from my point of view, inner child and soul means after the inner children, we have the our guide, our inner self, our high self.
Right. Beautiful.
Our neshama, because don't forget that also according to the Bible, to the Kabbalah, most of our soul is not with us in the body. Most of our soul is really up there.
Oh, I love this.
The soul is huge.
And you know, Marav loves everything having to do with the spiritual, because this is another big part of healing. It's beautiful.
The soul is huge.
Wow.
So the whole soul cannot come in. And even in Judaism, we say the nitzots. Have you heard of the word nitzots?
No.
Spark.
Spark. Nice. Beautiful.
From our soul, we only have the spark of our soul to start the body.
It's beautiful.
Because the soul is an energy so big and so huge that if all our soul will get into our body will practically explode.
Probably.
It's just like, you know, energy, just like energy.
That's a whole nother topic, because we are all energy, and disease is an energetic flow going faster or slower. And our reaction and response to it is what we're talking about can change.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so it's
so that's the reason why I'm saying that when we're talking about the work of the inner child, is really getting in touch with your essence, which is your soul, because it's beyond the hurt child. The hurt child is part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's only one part
right.
of this huge thing which we called a soul with all the components.
And it's infinite. That's why healing is so possible. When you bring your soul piece into that and connect to the body and mind, it's infinite possibilities of healing.
I had to bring my soul in because looking back at what I did, because when I healed myself, it was so fast, like 4.5 months, tuck, 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 tuck. All those understanding came in and I couldn't really explain it. It took me a few years to explain it and a few years to even create the workshop to bring the other people onto that journey.
Wow, wow, wow.
But the soul itself, if we're looking for the energy of healing, we don't get it from the brain. We get it from the soul.
Wow.
When you're happy, like a little child happy, like ecstatically happy, that's the energy of the soul, and that is the energy that we need in order to heal.
But isn't that the unconscious? Because we're talking about the unconscious. The unconscious is the goof.
We have unconscious.
The unconscious is the goof.
We have body, and we have our soul.
Yeah. Well, I think for like speaking to Tamar specifically, I mean, then we have to have a belief and hope.
I'm just reading what דנית, את מדברת דברים מדהימים. מדהימים, ממש הייתי. Can we bring Danit into the conversation? Can you bring somebody in?
I can. I can just post there, but I just want to say that.
I'll just ask her. Danit, את רוצה להצטרף אלינו לשידור? Sorry.
Anyway, no, I just want to comment. In order to understand our soul, there has to be a hope and belief that we are one. See, that's the mind and body. I mean, we're not separate. And
we are one.
Right, we are one. And that
is the Catholic wedding.
Right. So that itself is healing, to accept that reality and speak that language that we are mind, body, and soul, and they heal together and they support each other.
When I teach that, I first of all do a separation for us to understand each driver. But in the end of the day, we are creating it into harmony, because as long as we are alive and we're breathing, those three are in Catholic wedding. There's no separation until death.
Wow.
Now, Danit just answered, she was laughing, and then she asked if she can join us with no camera.
With no camera? So,
can you hide her face?
No, I can't. I mean, I can bring her into the studio. Anybody can come into the studio. I have to send a link, and then you come to the studio. But I can't hide her. This is not like Zoom.
אוקיי, דנית, האפשרות היחידה זה שאת פשוט תשימי משהו על המצלמה. She can cover her camera.
Let's have another show with Danit, and we'll do it on Zoom. I mean, like, Danit's offering, you know, we're all healers. That's the point. And we look at my logo. It says, my logo says,
a lovely story herself.
Yeah, I mean, we're all doctors. I just have
we are our own doctors. We are better as our own doctors than any other external doctor.
Much
תמר מצטערת על יותר מדי אנגלית, אבל זה הולך ככה. אבל אם תשאלי את השאלות אני אעצור.
First of all, every other week we're going to go live. Every other week. Maybe
and I think
if I can get the co-op, I'll go every week. But this is all volunteer work from me and any my host. But the point I want to make is we love speaking to people that have self-healed or on their journey.
So why don't we just make an option in the next shows that we'll be able to, they can send us the email address and then they can...
Yeah, I want Danit to be on our show. I want her to be a guest. I want her to talk with us. I want anyone can come speak. You don't have to heal. It's not about cure. It's about journey. It's about on your path and how you can help us help others, because you're doing that right now. Helen says, I vote for you. It's her mom.
For Danit.
I'm happy to have the mishpacha here. But no, Danit, would you like to be a guest on our show? We'll schedule it. This is the beauty of this show. We would love to schedule it. You know, Maravi was my co-host for 2 years, healed 8 conditions, you know, and so we're here to simply share with others the possibilities. I'm going to interrupt like a good Israeli. I want to say that when you come and speak about your healing, it's really healing for yourself. So even if you're...
Who is coming to speak?
I'm saying if Danit wants to come or Tamar wants to come,
דנית ותמר, אתם מוזמנות קודם כל לדבר על ההילינג שלכם, אבל מה שטובה מנסה לומר, they can understand you, by the way.
Because it's like your brain and body and soul are helping and healing, and there's hope and there's belief, and this becomes a chemical, you know, cycle. And, you know, biology is chemical. When I believe something, it changes my hormones. So part of helping others is very healing, and you have something to say. You have something very important and valuable to say. So if you don't want to come on here, that's okay too. I get triggered every time I go live, so it's not easy for anyone.
I think we need to have only a problem with the camera at this point.
Oh, okay.
So
anyway, we're happy to meet anybody who wants to go live.
I think maybe we can make it like an interactive show.
4 people can be in this studio at a time.
And you can always change them, so we can have our guest for a few minutes each.
Better. Tova.
Asking questions. Would you like this option? אם אתם הייתם רוצים את האופציה הזאת, לעלות ולדבר על התוכנית ביחד איתנו. לפעמים הבאות כמובן, אנחנו לא
So this is from Tamar.
Danit is saying, if I will know from in advance, there's no problem with the camera.
Great. And what about and Danit?
And Tamar, אני סובלת מכאבי גב שמוקרן לרגליים ומגביל אותי בהליכה ועמידה כבר מספר שנים. Tamar, I think you need to go and see Tova for a treatment. She's suffering from back pain, which are sending this thing to the legs.
Radiation to the legs.
Radiation to the legs, which stop her from walking and standing for the last few years.
But you're young, so right now just have hope and belief and know that your pain is in your brain, because the body heals from a disc, the body heals.
Let me just translate it to Tamar especially. So let's do it sentence by sentence if you can. You're talking to Tamar directly at the moment. I'm just translating. לתמר. תמר, כרגע טובה עונה לך ואני אתרגם אותה.
כן, so I know it's not easy if I say lolly dog, because worry does worry does put the brain on fight or flight, and it creates more deleket and more tafus.
If you will say lolly dog.
No, if you worry, it puts the brain on alert.
אם את דואגת,
so it puts the brain is on alert, like danger.
זה מכניס את המוח למצב סכנה שכאילו משדר סכנה.
And all it is Tamar's feeling sad and feeling scared, as opposed to a lion is coming.
And that sakana makes the pain.
Right. That's I'm not diagnosing Tamar on here, but as far as I'm concerned.
היא לא עושה לך דיאגנוזה כרגע, היא פשוט מדברת בכלליות על החיבור של המוח עם הרגש. כאילו כואב, יש כאב, אבל יש גם את תמר שנוכחת תוך כדי הכאב, והיא לא מחוברת לכאב. זה כאילו שני, תנסי להפריד עצמך מהכאב. זה לא כאילו לומר אין כאב, או לא להתייחס אליו, זה פשוט לומר, נכון, אני כואבת כרגע, ואני לא מנסה להיות במקומך, באמת, אני לא חווה או חוויתי את מה שאת חווה, אבל תנסי להפריד את עצמך מהכאב, כי יש אותך מעבר לכאב. אני מקווה What I was trying to say to Tamar is that to try to separate herself from the pain, that in one point there's the pain, and the other one there's Tamar is over there.
And
the separation.
And this is so important. Pain, when we have pain, we think something is wrong.
כשיש לנו כאב, אנחנו חושבים, המחשבות שלנו הולכות על משהו לא בסדר.
But it's counterintuitive, neuroplastic pain. Counterintuitive.
עובד הפוך.
Ken, it means that the pain is the brain. It's called pain brain. Brain pain.
המוח מייצר את הכאב.
And we have to understand our relationship with the pain.
ואנחנו צריכים להבין את היחסים שלנו עם הכאב. אני עדיין מתרגמת את טובה בשבילך, תמר.
And I'm happy to share information. It's on my website. It's on the page. I'm happy to share. I work with
טובה תשמח לשתף אינפורמציה על שאפשר לקרוא מהעמוד שלה וכדומה. Tamar is asking, how do you create that separation from the pain?
Shelo tov. By calming your brain down. Let's talk about for a minute safety threat. We have a threat to give it safety.
So sorry, I need to translate you to Tamar. So just say it again. How to do the separation.
How do we connect this? That we have to understand that there's an iun, a threat. Inun, a threat.
Iyum.
And we have to give our brains.
אנחנו צריכים להבין שיש שם איום. What is the איום? What is the
threat? A threat. There's like your body sensing a threat.
הגוף מרגיש איום בגלל הכאב.
And we all are learning how to give our body patuach, safety.
ואנחנו צריכים להעביר מסר לגוף שהכל בסדר והכל בטוח למרות הכאב. There is a communication. Danit was saying, actually, so it means that the body, your mind, is balancing a situation of pain in order to say to you something with it.
Well, it's protecting, your body's protecting you. It's doing its job.
Tamar was reading the Serrano book.
Wonderful. So you understand. Mitsuyan. But even more so, we understand since Dr. Sarno died, many of the doctors that I study with took it a step further and understood that our brain is...
ממש אוהבת שאתם מתקשרות שם על זה, they're talking between themselves.
Yeah, that's I love when that's fine. It's wonderful because we're all healing each other.
Yeah.
But, we're gonna wrap up the hour. I'm very excited that we met some new people. I've not met you a few months ago when we were on the show each week. I've not seen some of the names. So I'm very happy that you came to the page and that found us. We will be, in fact, you can contact Gili. She has a Facebook page through her messenger.
העמוד שלי זה עקרונות הבראה למתמודדי סרטן, גילי בת שלמה, עקרונות הבראה למתמודדי סרטן.
And
you can find Tova.
Yeah. On the Facebook page, or Dr. Tova Goldfind. My phone number's on the Israel TMS RoundTable page.
של טובה, אתם תוכלו למצוא את זה על העמוד של איפה שאתם נמצאים כרגע.
And I know I'll be back with Gili talking about more of this, but in a few weeks we're going to have some different guests for many things are happening.
טובה מתכננת מספר אורחים לתוכנית בשבועות הקרובים, ואני מדי פעם מצטרף אליה. טובה, from the experience today, and from the response which I see, let me just share with you that I would love to do another show when we can actually bring people onto the thing. They don't have to stay for the whole hour.
They can come in and out. Yeah,
they can come in and out. So we will check technology, how to do it in a technology way.
We can do that. I can do it as long as if they have to tell me they want to come, I send them an email with the link to the studio, and they come in and out of the studio. And it's just sitting in. It's like Zoom, but it's a little different. And then we're interacting on Facebook verbally. But then you're sitting in the studio here. It's really
in the studio and the online.
Talk about being triggered.
Are we talking about online studio? You're not talking about.
It's a virtual studio. Virtual. It's called Be Live. Be Live.
דנית ותמר, אתם הייתם רוצות, אני בכלל שואלת את כולכם, את כל מי שנמצא פה, הייתם רוצות האפשרות הזאת להצטרף מדי פעם כדי שנוכל לדבר ביחד על השאלות ולענות עליהן בצורה יותר מסודרת, אם באנגלית, בעברית או...
And so this video, this this Facebook broadcast will be on YouTube tomorrow if you want to see it again and review anything we spoke about, or you can speak with Gili and I live or on email. We're Kol Yachad. We're all together in this, supporting you and holding a vessel for you to heal. And everything you're saying is helping others. So we're one grain of rice is making other grains of rice.
That's the reason
ripple effect.
That's the reason why I'm saying if we will be able to technically bring them into the show, it will be much more interactive. Tamar said, with pleasure.
I love it.
It said, sounds amazing, why not? Instead of just webinar, actually an open conversation.
And Helen,
you can read
Helen, there's 90, we had 90 shidurim in the last 2 years. I was on every week, and now I have 140 broadcasts in English with a co-host called TMS Global that I created with my co-host from Australia, who's a wonderful ISTDP therapist, DTP therapist, an amazing psychotherapist. Gili was on that show in English. So I have 2 YouTube channels with all these shows and unbelievable healing, like unbelievable stories of people like
טובה מזמינה אתכם להיכנס ליוטיוב שלה, ל-RoundTable Israel ו-RoundTable
Global. TMS RoundTable Global, TMS RoundTable Israel.
אתם תוכלו למצוא שם המון תוכניות, עם כל מיני אורחים שונים, במצבים שונים וכדומה. ואתם מוזמנים לצפות בזה.
כן. So we're going to leave you with hope.
Can I just translate,
Yes.
before we leave, can I translate to you what Danit just wrote?
כן.
Most of us, 75% of the time, are under a state of stress and survival.
כן.
But instead of running away from a cheetah, you cannot run away from a co-worker in your office that you don't get along with. So you are מתנגד.
It's okay, אני מבינה.
So you're going against
yes.
your physical instinct which raised inside you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop. And that in itself creates many health problems.
But the awareness of that happening can calm your brain down. Like, yes, I'm not happy. Lo nuach. I want to go, but I'm in this moment. And how can I serve myself and take care of myself in this moment?
Right. If I'll just answer Danit on this amazing thing that she wrote, and I will translate it later on into English. I'll start it with English, if you don't mind. I didn't have a problem like that after the cancer. And the reason being because during the 4.5 months of healing, I completely and utterly changed my automatic pilot. What do you call the brain?
Fight and flight.
No. You're talking about the plasticity?
Neuroplasticity.
The
you changed your brain. You changed the pathway.
Right. So I'm calling it the automatic pilot.
Can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I changed my automatic pilot within the 4.5 months. And therefore, when I fully healed after 4.5 months, up to now, and we're talking about over 27 years ago, my level of stress cannot actually go down to a certain level without alarming me really in full sirens. It's because I was really looking at the way I feel inside my body every almost 5 minutes for the whole 4.5 months. It's an exercise which I'm teaching. And once a person decides to really do it religiously, that exercise, within 2 weeks, she sent me a text. Is that real? I say, what real? She say, is this going to last? I say, what are you talking about? And she say, I'm happy all the time. And I say, of course you're happy, you're doing this exercise. So, and you just by continue doing it and doing it and doing it, just putting awareness to how you feel, you can change the automatic pilot. And once you change the automatic pilot, you don't need to do any effort in reducing stress because the level of the stress already raised up. So you don't understand that you're stressed only when you're fully stressed. You will really understand that you're stressed only once it starts.
It's another level of the awareness of yourself. And, when we get sick, we have an opportunity to know ourselves. And I know it's like, what does sickness have to do with that? It's because we understand the message underneath the pain. Tomorrow, there's a message of this pain. It's not there to hurt you. There's a message there for you to understand.
Yeah. כאילו, מה שטובה אומרת, יש פה מסר לכל בן אדם לקבל. דנית, תודה. אני לא ברת מזל, אני פשוט הייתי קרובה מדי למוות, אז הייתי צריכה שנייה להמשיך לחיות. אז זה מה שקרה. לגבי ללמד את התרגיל, זה תרגיל שאני מלמדת בסדנאות שלי, וזה קשור לכל כך הרבה דברים. זה, אם אני סתם אלמד אותך את התרגיל, הוא לא יעבוד טוב. אני צריכה ממש ללמד את כל המסביב לתרגיל. אז, והסדנה איתי לוקחת קרוב ל-50-60 שעות, כי אנחנו עוברים דרך 3 שלבים כדי להתחיל, עד שאנחנו מגיעים בכלל לשלושת הנהגים. דנית, אני לא ממש איך לא לראות מה שכתבת לי בפרטי. טוב, זה בינך לבין דנית. אני והסטרס, אני חושבת שמדבר גם בהתמכרות. דנית, לא הבנתי, זה אחת הבעיות שאני מנסה לקדם, אני והסטרס, אני ספק שמדובר גם בהתמכרות, לא הבנתי.
I think Tamar just asked Danita a question, and they're answering each other. So
I think from what happened today, we really need to invite people to the conversation with us on the screen.
Sure, we can do that. We can do that. Okay, to be discussed in the board meeting.
My dear Tova, you challenge me, now I'm challenging you back.
Thank you. So God bless and Erev Tov. It's so nice to meet you, and we will be back in 2 weeks.
אוקיי, דנית, אנחנו ננסה לעבור על זה כשנזמין אותך לתוכנית.
And you haven't seen remember these faces. We'll be back. Okay.
עוד אנחנו נחזור. דנית, תמר וכל מי שהיה פה איתנו בצ'אט ובכלל, תודה רבה.